Hey, what's up, guys? So, what you're looking at right here is some footage that I captured while I was at the recent Donald Trump event that took place in Miami, Florida. This is one of the ladies who got kicked out of the Donald Trump event because she and a few of her other counter protesters interrupted his speech, started screaming, acting like savages, barbarians. And what are we going to do? Just let them scream for an hour and a half? No, I mean, it's a private event on private property, so we have to take you out of the event if you're just going to scream nonstop. And that's their whole point, to disrupt until they're physically removed. But then finally, when you physically remove them off private property, they cry police brutality, they cry racism, they cry, oh, look at the evil white man. Anyways, I'm a Hispanic male, that's just a disclaimer, but this Hispanic lady said some interesting things, and I'll use my amazing Spanish-speaking skills to translate what she says.
Nosotros también este país es grande y él tiene que aprender a respetar.
She just said that Latins in this country make up a huge portion, and Donald Trump's going to have to learn to respect us.
A los latinos si él un día quiere llegar a la Casa Blanca.
If Donald Trump wants to go to the White House, he's going to have to learn to respect Hispanics.
A mis compañeros los sacó a patadas de ahí.
My friends who were protesting in there, they took them out, but they were beating them as they took them out. Really? I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that you deliberately planned to interrupt it and basically had no intentions to leave until you were physically removed. But again, this is the subtle racism of so-called minorities. What they do is they hold white people to a different standard of conduct than they hold themselves. Isn't that a form of racism? They basically say that we can act like animals, savages, interrupt things, ruin everything, but when you try to defend yourself and kick us out because we're a bunch of barbarians, we're going to get angry at you because you're not allowed to do that, white man. Only us minorities can act like barbarians. If that's not a subtle form of racism, I don't know what is. And disclaimer all over again, I'm a Hispanic male. Both of my parents were born in Cuba. I'm a second-generation Hispanic male immigrant.
Y él no va a parar nunca. Él nunca va a
He's never going to stop.
dejar de faltarle el respeto.
He's never going to stop disrespecting Latinos. Oh, that's funny. Didn't you disrespect Donald Trump when you came onto his private property? Donald Trump's speech was taking place at his fucking Doral Resort here in Miami. So you stepped onto Donald Trump's private property, you interrupted his speech, shouted, refused to leave, but Donald Trump's the disrespectful one. Oh, that's really cute. Again, the subtle racism of these people.
A nuestra comunidad. Ya es tiempo que todos nos levantemos y demostremos lo que somos.
It's time that all of us Latinos, talk about racist, all she cares about is Latino, Latino, Latino. It's time the Latinos stand up and demonstrate.
Porque el poder lo tenemos los latinos y él no puede llegar a la Casa Blanca sin el voto de los latinos.
Donald Trump can't get to the White House without the votes of los Latinos. I see, okay.
De los latinos, perdón.
Hay muchos latinos que like Trump.
So then I tell her, hay muchos Latinos that like Trump. There's a lot of Latin people who like Trump. In fact, there were a lot of them in the event supporting him. And that's the face of a race baiter who suddenly realizes that, wait a minute, not all my people, because the race baiters, the minorities who are deeply associated with, they like a tribe or a cult. They identify strongly with my people. Again, if white people did that, they'd be called racists. That's the face of somebody who's like, well, you're right, but I don't know how to explain those anomalies. Well, here's how she explains Latin people who like Donald Trump, and the racism gets ramped up to a whole new level. Watch.
Well, el 80% tiene una manera negativa.
Well, 80% of Latins don't like him.
Será un 20% que son extremistas.
I believe she said it might be 20% of Latinos who are extremists who like Trump.
Que están dispuestos y se
Don't know what that means.
creen gringos y
Que se creen gringo! So right now she just said that if you're a Hispanic who supports Donald Trump, it's probably because you think you're white. So let that sink in. If you're Hispanic and you support Donald Trump, it's not because you support his ideas. It's not because you believe in the things that he's putting forward. No, it has to be strictly because you're a wannabe white person. Now tell me that isn't racist. Because essentially what she's saying that if you're of her race, if you're of her skin color and her ethnicity and her race, and you support Donald Trump, that makes you a wannabe white person. So what does it make you when somebody supports you, lady? What does it make you? Does it make you what, a Hispanic? So what are you saying that there's an inherent that Hispanics, true Hispanics, inherently, genetically speaking, are supposed to support their people, my people? And to support Donald Trump must mean you're betraying your people? I mean, this collective race allegiance. If white people went around hysterically screaming about race and accusing people who don't agree with her of being wannabe white people or wannabe black people or wannabe Hispanic people, man, they'd be called racist in a freaking heartbeat. So I don't see victims here. I see blatant double standards. Let's see if there's anything else she has to say.
Están dispuestos a seguirle el juego a él, porque hasta hoy él no les ha presentado a ellos un plan de gobierno.
She said, I don't understand why these Hispanics who are wannabe gringos, I don't understand why they support Trump, since Trump has not given them a platform that represents their interests. Well, because, lady, the thing is that you think that the only way Trump supports you is if he has this plan that just blanket absolves minorities of any personal responsibility. The kind of politician you like is the one where if you interrupt their speech, they get on their knees and grovel and beg you for forgiveness for acting like a savage. It's like the Black Lives Matter morons who interrupted Bernie Sanders. They called Bernie Sanders a white supremacist. This guy marched with Martin Luther King back in the 60s. Okay? And if you dare defend yourself against these barbarians, you're called a racist. I mean, it's really sickening.
Él no ha dicho lo que él promete dar. Él no ha dicho qué es lo que él promete para poder seguir siendo este país una gran nación, porque él no va a hacer este país una gran nación. Este país ya es una gran nación.
He's not going to make this country great again, as his slogan says. This country's already great.
Y nosotros somos parte de eso, por eso es
And we, Latinos, are part of that greatness.
que él tiene que aprender a respetar a la
And that's why Donald Trump has to learn how to respect us.
comunidad latina.
Ese es tu sentido que él no respeta la
Él
comunidad.
And that's basically it. I didn't interrogate her further. I probably should have, but I didn't. But again, I mean, you want to talk about racism, you want to talk about this is how minorities disguise their racism. They pretend they're victims. They act like victims. Okay, all they got to do is they got to bash you, interrupt you, be what would arguably be called racist if white people were doing it. And the moment you say, hey, that's wrong, I wouldn't accept that behavior even if it was a white person, black person, any person. You dare confront them, they'll call you racist. That's what happened to Bernie Sanders. You know what Bernie Sanders did? This panderer, he got on his knees and he groveled to the Black Lives Matter movement. They bullied their way into his campaign platform. But if you ever dare defend yourself as a white person, you're called a racist. I don't see victims here. I see bullies.
That's not very traditional, and I think that a man should really pay for the first date.
Fuck that. We're splitting the bill.